Hey, FYE Finance family, welcome to Flip It with Samara, a show designed to flip the narrative on how we view and use the power of tax planning in our business and personal lives. So, here on Flip It, we have created a safe space, right? We want you to learn, we want you to ask questions, we want you to share your experiences and your insight. So, feel free to be totally engaged in the comments. Ask your questions and we'll be sure to address them during the live or in the comment section following the live, okay, if we don't get to it during the live. So our mantra on Flip It is the rich don't wait until they're wealthy to start tax planning, but yet they use the tool of tax planning in order to grow their wealth. So what does that mean? That means that no matter where you are on your financial journey, you can start tax planning. So we meet you where you are on your financial journey. We encourage you to connect with us so that these strategies, these tips that we share with you week over week, we can start implementing them in your life, right? So you can start tax planning today. Don't forget that. No matter where you are on your financial journey, you can start tax planning. Okay, so I have a little help this week. Every week, we like to have on a guest, someone who is an expert in their field. And so this week, we have the pleasure of having Maggie on. Maggie is a certified public accountant and a certified financial planner. And she is going to walk us through our money story or our money script. She's going to tell us what that is, and she's going to tell us why this is so important. I am going to be learning with you tonight, FYE Finance family. Okay, so I hope you have your pens and your pads ready to take lots of notes. And I hope that you are engaged and ask lots of questions because we have Maggie for these 45 minutes, right? So make sure that you are leveraging all of her education and her skill set that she's going to be bringing to the stage tonight. So without further ado, let me welcome to the stage Maggie. Hey, Maggie.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It is a beautiful day here in central Illinois.
Oh, wow. Yes. I won't go into detail on how I feel about Illinois and their weather, but I digress. You're good people. She's good. Uh, so, Maggie, please introduce yourself to the FYE Finance family.
Yes, hello, FI Finance family. My name is Maggie Klokkenga. I am a certified financial planner and a certified public accountant, like Samara said, and I'm the owner of Make a Money Mindshift, which is a financial coaching and planning firm here in central Illinois.
Yep. So, how long have you been in the finance arena, Maggie? Tell us a little bit about that. And how did you come to say, hey, you know what? I want to start helping other people get their finances in order?
Yeah, so I'm going to totally date myself. I'm over 25 years in the financial services industry. I started in public accounting, and I actually started as a bank teller in high school and college,
Wow.
and really enjoyed working with people and their money. And I talked to my parents about it. They said, go into accounting. It's the international language of business, as you know. I went into public accounting. I did audit first, and then I did taxes. And I did taxes for high net worth individuals,
Mm,
which is fine,
hmm.
but I was helping rich people stay rich.
That's
And I was,
right. Hmm.
and as you get more technical with the higher net worth, it just became a little, I hate to say boring, but it was kind of, just repetitive.
Right.
And it wasn't interesting to me. And so moved over to the comprehensive financial planning space,
Okay.
where you're really talking about so many other facets, including tax planning.
Right.
And so I did that in 2012, went for and worked for an investment advisory firm in St. Louis, and was working for them. Continued to work with another team. We went and formed another investment advisory firm.
Okay.
And what I was finding is that we had fabulous clients who were already retired or looking to retire.
Right.
But what was happening was their adult children were coming to us and saying, we need some help. We don't know where our money is
Mm,
necessarily going. We have daycare expenses. We have small kids. We've got a mortgage. We've got credit card debt. And we would give them a financial plan and say, there you go.
right, right.
And I just thought, how can we help them? And so I just had that tug on my heart for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ended up doing teaching Financial Peace University with my
Okay.
husband at our church here.
Mm-hmm.
And what was super interesting to me is over half of the attendees said, oh, this is my second or third time attending.
Mm-hmm.
And, wanting to give hold the space for them, but at the same time going, wait, what?
Right,
What what was it that they're still on this hamster wheel?
right.
And so that's really what got me delving into the psychology of money, why we do the things we do.
That's good.
And yeah, and once I was starting to figure out why, then I was like, I want to share this with people. So now we can start to really rewrite those money stories to
I
serve our present and future selves.
I love that because I think oftentimes, right, we put a band-aid on a problem instead
Yeah.
of getting to the root of the problem. But if we get to
Yes.
the root of the problem, then we can really drive true change, right? and
Yes.
and
Yes.
so I love the name of your organization because it incorporates the mind, and we all
Hmm.
know that that is where change starts, is in your mind. So once that
Yeah.
mind shifts,
That's
then ev-
right.
then
There you
everything else
go. Yeah.
follows, right? So
Yes.
walk us through our money story. Like, what is our money
Yeah.
story? What is our money script? How does that come to
Yes.
be?
Yes. So in my research, so Dr. Brad Klontz, he is a financial psychologist and a certified financial planner.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his father, Ted Klontz, coined the term money scripts.
Okay.
And what money scripts are is they are beliefs about money that we learned typically in our childhood from our loved ones. And based on these money scripts, we continue to hear them again and again and again. And the reason why the Clances call them scripts is because, like a script in a play or in a movie, from your, say, your parents who were talking about money, you would hear that again and again and again. That was their script for their character as a parent. But when you kept hearing it as a child, in that repetition, your brain was taking that in and it became your script in your subconscious. And without realizing it, you continued that money script into your adulthood. So we have these money scripts that we're not even aware of that are leading us into some of the choices that we're making around money, and we never even knew it. And so when I'm working with my clients, from the very beginning and working with them, we're talking about money scripts. We're talking about what's coming up for them, both as I work with individuals and with couples. Couples, as you can imagine, is super interesting because it's not like it's very often where a couple comes together and each partner has the same thoughts about money. Usually there's that yin and yang. And so really with the money scripts, it gives them so much more compassion for each other. And they
Mm,
start to just understand, oh, that's why you buy 15 boxes of cereal every time you've gone shopping.
right.
Because when you were growing up, you didn't have that much to eat, and so you kept eating cereal.
Mm. That's good. And that,
Yeah.
I think, addresses a question that I saw we had in the audience from Casey. So, Casey was asking what was the common stream of people being on the hamster wheel. So, remember when you made the comment
Mm.
about
Yeah.
people doing the Financial Peace University, which I've done the Financial Peace University,
Yeah.
but I only had
Yeah.
to do it once. Um, but you talked about, right, them
Yeah.
having to do it multiple times. So, like, what was the
Yes.
common theme behind
Yes.
that?
Yes. Great question. So the common theme of the hamster wheel was basically you might have gotten yourself into a little bit of credit card debt
Mm,
where you've got this debt, you're spending some money, and then you get your paycheck, and then you go ahead and slap a larger amount down on that credit card debt. You're like, I'm good. It's good. I don't
right.
have it anymore. and then it starts creeping around again.
Right.
And your expenses creep up, and you're in that credit card debt, which, interestingly enough, I'm going to take a little sidestep and explain something that a lot of people, when I'm talking with them and coaching them, they find super interesting. So I would love to hear your take on this.
Okay.
I will explain the thought of like a financial thermostat.
Okay.
Where, so what in your home, if you have the temperature, Samara, so not your husband, so if you had the temperature to what you wanted, what would you like it to be, say, in the summertime?
In the summertime, about 72.
Okay, that's me too. Okay, so now let's think of 72 as your financial thermostat, where you are comfortable with
Right.
72 degrees. So maybe you are comfortable maybe with about $600 in credit card debt. Not much more, because you can handle 600. You can
Right.
usually pay it off in one fell swoop, right? But if you get up to, say, 2,200 to 4,000,
Right.
you're up to like 78, 80 degrees. You're like, no, I don't like that. I need to
Right.
bring that back down. What are you going to do to bring it back down? You're going to reduce your spending.
Right.
You're going to go maybe get a side job, or just bring in some side income, and you're going to pay it back down. Now you're back to that $600. You're fine.
Right.
Now, if you went ahead and paid it all off, and you didn't have it, and you had it paid off for a while, and you didn't have a lot of credit card debt, you're at like 66 degrees.
You're
Feels
cold.
kind of weird.
Right.
Because you're used to the $600 of credit card debt. So then
Right.
you just start going back and increasing that spending again, because you're right back there. So the hamster wheel is kind of like that thermostat. You just keep going around to where you're comfortable.
Wow.
But what happens with my clients, and we're not talking $600 credit card debt. Like, we're
Right.
talking $20,000, $40,000 of
Right.
credit card debt. And they're going like this, paying it off when they can or when they can't, and just going up and down, around and around. So that is the hamster wheel.
I love that analogy of the thermostat because it's relatable, right? Like we all can relate to that. And I'm sure people in the audience, Casey, I hope that answered your question, because it definitely shed light on how easy it could be to fall into that trap if the mindset is not shifted.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
definitely great analogy on
Thank
using the
you.
thermostat because I can relate to that because, again,
Mhm.
yes, I'm comfortable with 72, but my husband may not be.
Well, and that's such a great point, right?
Right,
Just
right.
because you are doesn't mean your husband
That's
is,
right.
and then you have this dichotomy where you're like, but wait a second, and then what are you doing? You're going and knocking it down when he's not around
Hmm.
because you're too hot, and then he's knocking it back up, and spending happens the same way, you
Right.
know?
And that's why it's important to have the couples on the same page. So I'm glad that when you are developing a plan, like you're including the couple. Because even
Yes.
though when you talk about finances in relationships, it's usually one person who is a little stronger or handles the finances, right? And then the other
Mhm.
person is just like, oh, I'm here for the ride, whatever they say, we're
Mhm.
good because I
Mhm.
trust them.
Right.
But it's a joint effort because it's still two people in that
Yeah.
relationship. And although that person, the other person may not be managing or handling it, they definitely have a say. And you want to make sure that the thermostat is adjusted and comfortable to them as well. So
Yes.
that's really, really good, Maggie. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just saw the comment, hiding purchases. Exactly. That's
Mm.
exactly what happens. You have one partner who's like, I already know what they're going to say. I'm just going to start hiding it. Then you go into financial infidelity, and that's all. It
Ooh.
just is a slippery slope. So, yeah, that's why when I start coaching my clients, we start with those money scripts. We start with those money stories. What is it? How did you grow up with money? What was your first money memory from your parents, from your mom or your dad or your grandmother or grandfather? What was it that you learned?
Mm-hmm.
And is that something that you still think you're carrying, and that you're
Mm.
kind of still carrying out now?
Right, absolutely. Financial infidelity, people, okay? The word of the night. Okay, so we had
I wasn't
a.
going to go there, but we had the comment. I'm like, it is very
That's right.
common,
It's a very
unfortunately.
real
Yeah.
thing. Don't be cheating
Yeah.
on me financially. No,
No,
Okay,
don't do it.
so we have another question or another comment. I think Samurai says, Maggie, how do you have a conversation with someone who doesn't even know that they're on the hamster wheel?
Mm. So here's the thing, Samurai. Such a good question. They're not going to have a conversation with me. Okay. What one if they don't know where their money is going, right? Like I've got the t-shirt made, do you know where your money's going? And people will stop me and be like, I don't know. If that resonates with them, then they might reach out to me. I cannot tell you how many relatives I have who reach out to me and say, can you please help my son? Can you please help my sister? Can you please help whoever? You can lead the horse to water, right? But if they aren't able to even see their patterns and they're not willing to be open to learning more and just sharing about what they're knowing, it's not going to work. So you might see them. It's like with that bad boyfriend. Sorry, Sam, where I'm going to go there with it. It's like with that bad boyfriend. Like everybody else can see it, but you don't. I might not have seen it when I was growing up, right? I'm like, oh, Maggie, you needed to get rid of that guy way long ago. So when it comes to money, you just really need to, if you see people, if you see your friends or your family, you can always be like, hey, I know someone, she helps people with their money. She helps them find where their money's been going. That's usually where I get people because they're like, I just don't know. Like
Right.
people are making $20,000 per month and they're like, I don't know where it's been going.
And that is a real thing, Maggie. I can attest to that. I
Yeah,
actually
me
had
too.
someone
Yeah.
I was taken back because I'm like, for most people, that's their yearly salary. Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if you're making that type of money every
Yeah.
month and you
Yeah.
don't know where your money is, and furthermore, you don't have a retirement plan or any
Yeah.
plan for your future, I have so many questions. So, yeah, definitely wear that shirt a lot because I want you to be able to help those people because they don't
Yeah.
even, I feel like maybe they don't even know like that they're on this wheel, right? And another
Well, yeah.
and another thing that I have found is that it's hard for family, for you to help family, right? Like, I feel like if I had a family member that was struggling in that area, they would feel
Mhm.
more comfortable coming to you,
Yeah.
right? A
Yeah.
stranger than coming to me.
Mhm.
And that's okay, but I
Yes.
just want them to get help. So I'm glad that
Yes.
you wear that shirt because some people, they want help. They
Yeah.
just may not want to go to the people that are in their circle. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh, completely. And that's usually where, the relative might even if they've even helped them with money in the past,
Right.
they might just say, I can't do it anymore. And that's totally understandable. Me as a unbiased third party,
Right.
I can give the tough love.
Right.
I can say, okay, because if you have these ideas, you want to get to these goals, you've got to make some sacrifices,
Oh,
right? Lots
absolutely.
of times I'll be saying you need to challenge your present self to honor your future self.
Mm, that's good.
And thank you. And it's, and going back to the people who have the 20,000 per month, I always give people who come and meet with me just in a connect with me call, I always first of all give them kudos for showing up,
Right.
because there is so much money shame and overwhelm. And if they don't know where their
Yes.
money's going, right? To then to do the numbers and see those numbers makes them sick to their stomach. But
Right.
now they're getting that knowledge, they're
Right.
getting that information, and they're able to take some control back,
Mm,
right? Versus just being on that hamster wheel. So it is, as I work with them, it's first just always offering that safe, confidential space. And sometimes, they don't show up to the first call. They don't show that, they set up a connect with me call and they can't make it. They can't show up. They're able to schedule it and that's it. And I honor that because
right.
they're taking baby steps and maybe that was the first step they can make and they might come back to me a few months later and that's okay.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I stand by the same mantra, right? We meet you where you are. because we are
Absolutely.
all on this journey at different areas. And let me tell you, I started from the bottom. Okay. So a lot of the stuff that I preach and I teach is because it's out of experience. I learned the hard
Yeah.
way a lot of times.
Yeah.
And so I don't want people to learn the hard way. And so I
Yeah.
try to guide them through, okay, here's the path you should take. And I know this to be a fact because guess what? I took the other way and it didn't work out so well.
But you learned. You
Right. Oh,
learned. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No losses, only lessons. So
Yeah.
we have a comment. So we have a lot of comments, Maggie. So Yanta
I
said,
know they keep popping up, and I'm trying to follow them all.
it's okay. We're going to get to them. So
Okay.
Yanta says, okay, or she's asking, what are some things you can do to open up the conversation in a relationship about managing money better? We have a common mindset, but we don't want to speak about money.
Okay. So the first thought is kind of going back to what I said before. If you don't really want to talk about money per se, just maybe let's talk about something that you both enjoy doing together that costs money. Okay. So maybe it's that you both like going to the movies and that's something you enjoy doing. Maybe one of you enjoys getting the popcorn and everything else. I recently went to the movie theater with my husband and my boys, and I was couldn't believe the price. We went at night, and we, as my husband brought up to my kids, mommy's shell shocked, so there will be no popcorn. Um, but just in that alone, when you talk about something that you enjoy doing together that costs money, you're placing value on that, right? You're placing value on something, and why? Why are you placing value on that activity together? Is it because you're connecting? Is it because you have the love of the movie theater when you were growing up? Is it both of those things? Is it that you like a specific actor? What are the things that are behind the activity that you value? And sometimes then you can kind of go, what with that value? Sometimes that value does not necessarily cost anything.
Right.
So, then you can go into, you don't even have to have necessarily the money conversation
Right.
about it. You can just talk about the connectivity that we want to have. And then just as you're kind of leading it away from the money, it gives a little bit more pause
Right.
so that when, and a little bit more comfort so that if you do want to toe that line a bit and be like, you know what, I really do enjoy going to the movies with you.
Right.
But when I was growing up, it was hard for me to, or my mom didn't want to spend money on concessions. And so we never bought the popcorn. But I'd be happy to buy the popcorn with you. If you want to talk of, like it's
Right.
just having some open conversations. And
Right.
if you want to go and back to like, what do you remember learning about money growing up? You can go there. But if your partner's not comfortable, or if you're not comfortable, just
Right.
talk about what are some of the things you enjoy doing together. That will open up the conversation right there from the beginning.
Absolutely. So, Yanta, I hope that answered your question and it helped because I mean, that's good because it takes the pressure of money off the table. But now we're just trying to connect, we're trying to find middle ground. And once you've
Yeah,
established that middle ground, you can grow from there. So,
yeah.
absolutely awesome. Yanta, I hope that helps.
I love her answer. So good that they brought the popcorn in the candy bag in the pocketbook. You go, girl.
That's funny.
Yep,
I
yep.
think
Been there, done that. I
Right, I was about
understand.
to say, I think we're all a little guilty of that, Yata, from
I
time
know,
to
I know.
um, but yeah, so you talked about how our money scripts are formed, right? Like where our money
Yeah,
story starts from either our parents, what they have
yeah,
seen, what they always said about money. So I want
yeah.
you to tell us then, now that we know like how it was formed, like why is that important? How much of an
Mhm.
influence does that have on our day to day with money?
Yes. So basically, these money scripts that we know now, that are we're becoming aware of, that we had in our subconscious, they have been leading some of our choices that we've made with money. And by having that knowledge, so one of the things I do when I first work with my clients, the first session is Dr. Brad Klontz, he created an assessment. It's
Okay.
called the Klontz Money Script Inventory Assessment. And it identifies if you may show a significant part of one of the four core money scripts.
Okay.
So the four core money scripts that the Klotzes had basically discovered in their research is, so the first one is money avoidance. So that's, you might think money is bad, or rich people are greedy, or maybe there's some virtue in not having money. So you just spend it. So think of a lottery winner. This is also that financial thermostat, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we heard of the lottery winner who went bankrupt, or the professional athlete that went bankrupt? Their thermostat went from 72 degrees to 100. They were like, in a good way, they came into so much money,
Right.
but then they're not used to it, and they want to avoid that. They want to get back to their 72 degrees. They're like spending it, spending it, spending it,
Right.
but then they'll go way, then they drop it way down to like 52 degrees. They file for bankruptcy.
Right.
So that's the first one, is money avoidance. The second one is money status. This is the keeping up with the Joneses effect. I have not actually seen this a lot, and I really attribute COVID and the pandemic a lot to this, because we haven't been out and about.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been socializing. And so, but that's where you may tell people that you earn more than you really do. And you're really wrapped up in that status of things. Another one is money worship, or sometimes it's called money focus. But that's where people think really that more money is going to solve our problems and make us happy. And then the fourth one is money vigilance. And that one, I call that like the good one of the group. But that's where you may say, okay, I need to save my money. Like I grew up and, you were always learning, hard work and save your money.
Right.
But the problem is that then you don't know when to spend. You're so close to keeping that money so close to you that it's hard for you to let go. Baby boomers right now who are approaching or about to go into retirement,
Right.
very hard for them,
Yep.
because all they've been doing is they've been told save, 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 and that's what they've done. And now you're supposed to flip the switch and spend.
Right.
Mm-mm. So from learning about the client's money script inventory assessment, if they're showing some signs of some different money scripts, then I work with them on what Brooke Castillo calls a thought ladder. And so a thought ladder is, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to flip a 180 and
Right.
go from, one thought on a money script. So let me give you an example on a money script. So one money script that I actually have a lot of my clients identify with is money buys freedom. Okay. So they may strongly agree with us. And I will work with my clients on different iterations, so different rungs of that thought ladder to get them to a money script that they feel is going to be serving them. So an example from one of my client relationships was, the first week was they needed to practice I want freedom.
Okay.
So it wasn't that money. So we went from money buys freedom, they strongly agreed with, to I want freedom. That's understandable. Then they go to, I want to make choices that give me freedom. So they're going just from wanting a little bit to now giving themselves some of that control, having that abundance mindset versus
Right.
the scarcity mindset. They are in the driver's seat. They want to make choices. Then the next week is, I can use money as a tool to give me freedom.
There we go.
Right? And it doesn't necessarily even have to be just money, but money can be used as a tool.
Right.
And then the final one is, I am making choices with my money that give me freedom. So present tense, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
And that way, they're in the driver's seat. They are deciding what it is that is so important to them that they want to get to with their money script. They don't want that, money buys freedom. And I understand, I know that, yes, money buys freedom. It's time freedom, which, Samara, I know you can It
Right.
buys you time, and time, I mean, that is freedom, but it is a tool to get you to those places.
Correct. That is
It is
correct.
not money itself.
Mm-mm. Nope. And I stand
Yeah.
by that 100%. It is a tool. And I refer to it often as that, just like time is a tool. So it's just what you do with it, right? I mean, we
Right.
all have the same amount of time, all right? Everybody has
Mm-hmm.
24 hours in a
Mm-hmm.
day, but it's how you utilize that tool that makes the difference. So we have so many comments. Let's pause because Maggie, oh my gosh, you're dropping so many gems. I love it. I even have some questions, but let's get the questions of the
Okay.
audience first. So Angelica says, I find it to be that the word budget is a sensitive word. How you feel about how you feel out about calling it a spending plan? Oh, how do you feel about calling it a spending plan instead of a budget?
Yeah. Yes. So great question, Angelica. I also don't like the B word.
30 word.
Don't like it. I do work. There is a piece in one of my sessions that I do work with something called budgeting blocks. It's been trademarked, so I'm like, okay, I'll call it that. But I also don't like calling it a spending plan, and here's why. I do wordsmith some things. I don't like calling it a spending plan because I don't want you to focus on just spending.
Mm-hmm.
What I present to my clients is a cash flow plan because money comes in
And money
and
goes
money
out.
can go out,
Correct.
but money can come in too. So that's why I don't use spending plan. But I hear you on the I don't use it. I don't like the B word.
Yeah, I don't use the B word either. Like I usually, so I have a tool called the money management tool. So it's about
Mm,
empowering the person, right? Like this is your money. Tell it what you want it to do. Like you have the
yeah,
power.
yeah,
So again, it reiterates like what you are guiding your people to, right? You first
mm-hmm,
have to start in that mind, but you
mm-hmm,
want them to understand that it's a tool and you are empowered. So I
yeah,
love that, like each week, like you're introducing them. It's like baby steps. That is so
yes.
good. It's something that I'm gonna have to borrow, Maggie.
You borrow right. I mean, borrow away. The thing is, and so there is a book called Tiny Habits by B.J.
Uh-huh.
Fogg, and uh, he basically, I believe, one of his examples was instead of reading a chapter of a book, like
Mm-hmm.
say you want to get back into reading, you're like, I'm going to read a chapter, and that's too much.
Right.
Read one sentence every day. That's it.
Right.
And there are going to be days where you can only do one sentence.
Right.
And there are going to be days that you're organically going to be like, I've got 3 pages down. I just did 3 chapters because the book is so good, right?
It's
But
right.
the thing is, I think in our society, we are so focused on goals, goals, goals. You got to get ahead, get ahead, get ahead.
Right.
But we all know there's days that it is not happening. We are not going to get there. It's not
That's
going to
right.
happen. And that's okay.
It is.
We don't
Right.
give ourselves enough grace.
Right.
So it's like, exactly. So that's why I work with my clients, little iterations, little rungs on the ladder, give you those steps so that then when you're getting to the money script that is serving you, then you're like, all right, this is now I can continue this thought. I can continue working on this because this is now what I want, to be leading me as I'm making the choices for my money.
Right. I mean, it's very similar to what corporations use when they want to get a buy in from the employees, right? Like if they have this new incentive or this new
Mm-hmm.
initiative, rather, that they're
Yeah.
trying to push, it's not going to
Yeah.
work if you don't get the buy in from the
Yeah.
people who have to push it, right? And
That's
so
right.
they
That's
have
right.
to, right? So they'll do a lot of meetings, they'll do a lot of the stuff that they'll roll out, all in
Mm-hmm.
anticipation to rolling out this new initiative. And so
Yeah.
once they have the people hooked and they're invested, then they know when that initiative rolls out, they're going to go with it and they're going to see it through and make sure that it is successful. So
Exactly.
it's the same. It's the same process, no different.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
we have some more questions and comments. So Samurai has a question. It looks like Samara and Maggie. How does working with, I guess, past clients, help you
Okay.
effectively help current and future clients? So I'll let you go first, Maggie. I'll chime
Okay.
in if I feel like I need to, but I'll let you.
Yeah. I got another great question, Samurai. So it really helps because every okay, finance is personal, personal finance is personal. However, there are themes that people may have on money. That's why there are 4 core money scripts.
Right.
There are these themes that we see when I'm talking to people. Like when I was talking to a recent couple, right away I'm thinking, okay, and I'm not always right, but I'm thinking, okay, you're showing maybe this sign, she's maybe showing, maybe this money script. And so it gives me a way of how to start just conversing with them. And
Right.
then we'll go through, the inventory assessment. But what I found is, and sometimes I will give examples from some of my past clients to
Right.
my current clients, because I'll have clients ask me, because they have money shame. I'll have clients ask me, is this the worst you've seen? And again, I give them the space and the grace and hold
Right.
that for them. But, everybody's in a different place. And it's just making sure that they are working towards what is truly important to them. I'm always advocating for finding out what is your enough,
Mm.
what fulfills you.
Right.
And so that is universal in working with my clients, but absolutely when I have other examples from past clients, I might be able to present that, obviously not naming names and confidential, but with giving them the understanding that you're not alone. I think that's another huge thing with
Mm-hmm.
money. People feel like they're on an island,
Right.
like the debt sharks are circling. It's like you're not alone, you
Right.
know.
No, absolutely. And I do the same thing, right? Without divulging like my
Yeah.
client's information, but
Yeah.
definitely I just reassure a client, listen, I've seen a client in a similar situation. This is a plan that we implemented and this was the success that they had. And it's encouraging. It's
Yeah.
encouraging to that current client that you're working with because they're like, okay, well, I feel confident now that this person can help me because they helped someone in a similar situation.
Hmm.
So the more people that you are able to connect with and
Hmm.
learn and grow from, I think it's better for your future clients, your current clients. Like it just keeps paying itself forward, right?
Yeah.
So Casey had a question or comment, I guess. He says, I like it asking what is important to you. Oh, because he also had a question about a goal. So I know
I
that
think I
you
saw.
were going to touch on this. At what stage
Hmm.
in the whole money script process do you start talking to your clients about like what's your goal?
Okay, so great question. And I did see his comment earlier
Right.
because about goals. Because here's the thing, and it's not like you sit around and you hang out. You're like, hey, what's your goal in life? Like you just don't do that, right?
No.
It's not like you're hanging out, and but when I'm working with my clients, so session one is the client's money script inventory assessment. We go over those results. We work together on the thought ladder and we start to implement it. Session two is actually me asking some questions that to me succinctly drill down into very concisely what is truly important to you.
Right.
I don't like to ask people what are their goals specifically because there's been research done where people will answer what you think they want, what you think the answer should be, not what's truly, so you as like I'm talking to Samara here. So what Samara thinks the answer should be, that's what clients give the answer.
Mm,
But that's not what you need to talk about. You need to
right.
talk about what's truly important to you.
Correct.
So one thing that I bring up, and Angelica made a comment earlier. Thank you, Angelica, about you're enough and what is truly important to you. So Sarah Newcomb, she's a behavioral scientist at Morningstar. She wrote the book Loaded,
Hmm.
and she talks about our intrinsic needs. So what is it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that fills you?
Right.
Okay, for me, it is hugs for my boys, French vanilla coffee creamer. I've tried to make my own because of inflation, and I'm going to have to go back to the store and buy, but I've been trying. Um, daily walks outside, and chocolate peanut butter. And the daily walks outside are probably because of the chocolate peanut butter.
Right.
Two of those four things have no financial cost,
Right.
right? And that's what fills me.
Right.
That's what, I've got Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I've got food, I've got shelter, and then I've got just right above that.
Right.
That's my enough. And so that's what you have to think about, what is truly important to you.
Right.
Where do you place value? And if you have a partner, if you have a family, then you need to bring them into the conversation.
Right. Yeah, I
You
agree.
know?
Yeah, if I had to list mine, it's at least 1 hour of sunshine. I need to feel the sun on my skin.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
I need at least 8 hours of sleep. Don't judge
Oh,
me. I
good,
need my
good for
sleep.
you. No, good for you. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then I just need an hour to just watch the most trashiest, ratchet TV show ever, which is like a Real Housewife show, but it's okay. Don't judge me, but that's what
There,
I need.
but you knew right away. You knew right away. Yanta's like, I love French vanilla in my tea. Like that's the thing. There are things, and they
Right,
could be small. Like
right,
I, I recently just got back into reading books for pleasure, like some beachy reads, and I'm like, I'm just borrowing from my library. This is just taking me away, and it's lovely.
right,
It's lovely,
right.
you know.
Yeah,
So
no,
don't, yeah, you can't say apologize because that's what's truly important to you. And I
it
think
is.
we feel like we need to do that, right?
It
But
is.
if it's, you're, you got this, like it's in you, like,
Look,
your
it,
husband knows, let me get my show, I'm good, then
right.
shh.
He's like, why do you watch this garbage? So Angelica makes me feel better about myself. She says, no judgment zone. Thank you,
That's right.
Angelica. Okay, I will be watching my Real Housewives later on. Thank you. No judgment zone. Okay, so Yansa had a question. So she said, Maggie, how do you feel about the push to being debt free? To cut
Yeah.
up your cards, pay for things cash only, versus being able to effectively manage your money? That's a good
Yeah.
question.
It's a great question. If you can effectively manage your money, then there's no problem in
Right.
having credit cards. There really isn't. Um, But where I will usually work with my clients is I usually have them remove as much credit card activity as they can. Any recurring charges goes to a charge to their bank account. And the reason why I do that, it's kind of like scorching the earth, like getting rid of everything and then kind of maybe putting another, like one recurring charge on your credit card. Because yes, that will get your credit score up.
Right.
But if you can effectively manage your money, fabulous. Then you know what to do. But when I have people coming to me, it's typically because they've gotten themselves into a bit of a hole and they need to get out. And I want to remove those temptations that got them there in the first place.
Right. And I agree. Because sometimes, like you said, you just have to scorch there. You have to rip the band aid off, right? And
That's
say, we're going to
yeah,
get to the bottom of this.
yeah,
So sometimes you have to just take all training wheels away. And then maybe you can reintroduce them once they become effective managers of their finances. But
yeah,
until then, you don't want to tempt them, especially
yeah.
because this is going to be a lifestyle change. Like for a lot of people, like you said, your money script was something that was instilled in you at a early age in your
Yeah,
childhood. So you've
yeah.
already had 20, 30, 40 years, depends on where they're meeting you, right, in their walk of life,
Hmm.
that you're trying to undo all of these preconceived notions about
Yeah,
money. So
yeah.
sometimes it's just going to cause for drastic measures. All right, so we have one more comment, and then we're going to try to wrap this up. It's so good, Maggie. All right, so it says Casey is asking, what have you seen to be the reason why people are not honest with what's important to them?
Again, Casey, great question. If they're not honest with what's important to them, then I think there are some other underlying issues that they might be trying to please someone else, or they just may not want to come to the honest answer. So I will give you a little behind the scenes as a financial planner. Lots of times, as financial planners, we like to go into the technical jargon because it makes us feel important, right? The problem is, lots of times people don't understand what we're saying, and that doesn't help them at all. That's why I like to, just like Samara said, meet the clients where they're at. For me, I like to have my clients get their cash flow ducks in a row before I even think about doing financial planning with them. They got to know where their cash flow is. So if they're not being honest with themselves about what's truly important to them,
Right.
that might be, that might be some more soul searching on their part, some journaling, maybe some meditation, or maybe working with a therapist. It may be a financial therapist, and I can connect you with those. It can maybe be just, just a regular therapist. But that would just be more of asking, what is it? If it doesn't feel like you're blowing open the windows and pulling, an Elsa and being like, I can be myself kind of thing,
Right. Right.
what is it that's holding you back?
That's good. So hopefully that answers your question, Casey. So listen, oh my gosh, the time just flew because we were having such a great conversation. But before we wrap it up, I know that you have offered to help some of our guests that are in the live tonight. So
Yeah.
please let them know what you are offering to help them and how they can qualify to take advantage of this help.
Yeah. Yes. So first of all, thank you for joining tonight and for all of your engagement. It's been so much fun answering your questions. So thank you for that. So I'm going to provide access to the client's money script inventory assessment. If you can share with me a takeaway that you learned in the conversation that we had this evening, you can email me at maggie@makeamoneymindshift.com, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I am on Facebook and Instagram on as Make a Money Mindshift, but I will tell you right now, I cannot find those Instagram comments or messages to save my life. I am on LinkedIn more than I am on Instagram. And so if you want me to send you the client's money script inventory assessment, you will get the results immediately. So you will have those. Typically when I'm working with my clients, we go over the results in our first session together. But you can have that assessment if you email me a takeaway or something that really resonated with you.
That's great. So, Maggie, we also have your website, I think, queued up too. So, I think they would be able to see all of your social handles on your website. Is that correct?
Yes.
So they can connect with you. How do we get to your website?
So it is
Okay.
makeamoneymindshift.com.
All right.
Yep.
And so if you visit the website, you can probably find all of her social media connections there. But she gave you how to reach out to her on LinkedIn. You got to go where your people are, Maggie. So I understand you
I
being
know.
on LinkedIn.
Is my email in the description? Yes. Angelica, I believe it is.
I
Yep.
believe that it is in the description, but if not, we can definitely put it in the chat,
Yes.
Maggie, after we wrap up.
Yes.
But thank you so much for offering them that. That is
Yeah.
amazing. And thank you so much for your time. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, this was
This
so
was so
much
much fun. They
fun.
they already mentioned popcorn, like being in like the movie theater or something, to be like, well, we should do this again. I mean, I'm
Right.
happy to. I can talk money. You and I, we can talk money the whole time.
Absolutely. Right,
Yeah.
right. We could talk money all night long, but we definitely want to be mindful of everybody's time. But thank
That's
you
right.
so much, Maggie, for walking us through what our money scripts are, right? The different money scripts that we can have and how we can start changing those money scripts. I know that it was super helpful for me. I hope it was super helpful for you too, Five Finance family. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to ask you to wait backstage for a minute, and I'll
Yes,
join
ma'am.
you in a few while I say goodbye to the Five Finance family. Before you go, just say goodbye, Maggie. Before you go, let's bring Maggie back on. If you could just say bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
All right, Maggie, hold tight. All right, so Five Finance family, thank you so much for joining us this evening as we had Maggie on walking us through our money story and our money scripts. I hope that you all learned a lot from this, and I hope that you all connect with Maggie. We'll be sure to repost her LinkedIn link and also her email in the comments after the live. So on next week, we're going to have another guest, all right? So Tess is going to be joining us on next week. and she is going to tell us how to do this once and profit forever. So, more financial planning when we talk to Tess. So, hopefully, you will be able to join in, come prepared to ask questions and be engaged just like you were tonight. And if you like what you see, make sure that you are connecting with us, right? So, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you are hitting that like button on any videos that you see or like this video. Make sure that you're hitting that like button. Also, we have a podcast show, right? So this is going to be also aired on our podcast. We're on Audible, Spotify, Amazon Music. So make sure that you are subscribing to our weekly podcast so you can listen to this in replay while you are driving to work or working out, what have you, or, doing some work at your desk. And you can connect with us via our website as well. So if you visit our website, www.fyefinance.com, you can book a consultation. So if you are ready to start your tax planning journey, remember I said no matter where you are, we meet you where you are. You definitely can book a free consultation so that we can get started with your tax planning journey today. All right. So again, FYE Finance family, thank you so much for being engaged. Thank you so much for rocking with us on tonight. I am going to give you back the rest of your Tuesday evening, but thank you for joining and have a blessed and wonderful Tuesday evening, and we will see you next week.